Shalom everybody, I guarantee you that by the end of this video, you'll be able to utilize your boredom to work for you and not against you. Boredom. Like video game loading screens, they just feel endless. Like you're just sitting there, right? You just like, you think in your head, maybe I'll scroll, maybe I'll check out YouTube, you know? You get YouTube open, you check it out for a few seconds, probably a minute or two. You're like, nah. You go and you turn on a video game. You turn that on, you play it for, a few minutes. You're like, nah. Probably go get you something to eat. You eat and then it's like, oh man, I'm more tired. Am I really tired? I don't know. Then you go and you go outside, take a walk. You're like, ah man, it's too hot out here. I don't want to be out here. You go inside, do the same cycle over and over and over again. And it's just like a restless experience, you know? I don't know if you guys like ever felt that about like just genuine boredom. That's why I call it doom scrolling and stuff like that. It just feels, you just get this feeling of just, it's just like behind all the boredom, this feeling of like you're sinking into something, you know what I mean? There's like a slight doom sprinkled on it, you know. But with that, also to video game loading screens, the reason why it's taking so long, the reason why it's loading up, the reason why it's even there is because it's taking a minute for the game to actually load the world that you'll be traversing in. Right? So taking that and just applying it to life itself, your boredom could be God telling you just chill, be still, know that I am, and everything will come together. Slow down so he can load the world, you know, and develop the ideas you need in order to successfully traverse it. And to give you the downloads that you need, the uploads that you need in order to carry those things out. I got a video here by this guy named Rob Mulder. Like I watched like the first, I want to say like 2 to 3 minutes of it. Like this video is solid. I'm like, you know what? Let me react to it. I want to watch it with the squad. I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get right into it.
I remember a day, quite some years ago, where I was feeling really, really bad, and I had spent the whole day numbing the hell out of my brain, basically. So I'd spent the whole day playing video games, watching YouTube videos. I think I even watched some porn. And there were some work tasks that I kind of had
Do not watch porn, everybody. Regardless of what everybody says. Cut corn out. Get you a freaking wife or a husband. Okay? All right.
to do. They were kind of important. I really needed to start doing them. But I felt so bad that I reached this point that I told myself, okay, you know what? Screw it. I'm not going to do these tasks right now. Maybe I'll do them tomorrow. The day after tomorrow, who knows? But I feel so bad, I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'm just going to give up, I'm going to throw the towel into the ring, and I'm going
Look at
to
his face.
start up a video game or just do whatever I feel like doing. I'm giving up, okay? I'm giving in to how bad I'm feeling at this moment. But at the same time that I was thinking about giving up, I was also sort of growing tired of the thing that I was doing at that time. Now, I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but I've definitely had these moments where I had such a shitty day, basically. And I just went from one YouTube video to another YouTube video. So I'd watch a video for 1 minute and then I'd skip to the next video and then the next video, and I'd just endlessly browse around, and I'd start up a video game. But then I'd get bored after 5 minutes, so I'd start up another video game. And eventually I kind of just got to this point where I got so tired of what I was doing, trying to chase some fun but not really knowing what to do and not really having some fun. And you just get tired, right? I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but I've definitely had these moments. And I had one of these moments right there. So at the same time that I allowed myself to give up, I also got kind of tired of giving up, if you know what I mean.
Right? It's just like nothing.
So I told myself this. I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'll allow myself to give up and do whatever I want to do. But first, I'm going to have a little break. I'm just going to go away from the computer, and I'm going to just sit somewhere and do absolutely nothing for a moment to just give my mind a little break. Right? To give my mind a little rest, a little reset or something. And I'll do that for like 10 or 15 minutes. And then I'll come back to the computer, and then I'll do whatever I want to do. So then I'll start up a video game and just, have fun the rest of the day. And hopefully I'll actually get to have some fun then. So I removed myself from the computer and I went into another room where there was no computer in. I didn't bring my phone, so there was no form of stimulation. And I just sat down on a chair and I stared in front of myself at like a wall or something, and I did absolutely nothing for a couple of minutes. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this, but within 5 minutes, literally within 5 minutes, I sat there and I started to feel a little bit of restlessness inside of me. And I thought, you know what? That work task that I have been procrastinating on, that I should be doing, I actually feel kind of ready to do that thing right now. I actually feel a little bit of motivation to start up that task. 5 minutes before that, I told myself that I was giving up. I allowed myself to give up, right? But within literally minutes of doing absolutely nothing, I started to feel a little bit of motivation that I hadn't felt before in a long time.
Right, and it's mainly because he gave himself time to just chill. You know what I mean? Because like with boredom, people are like, I'm doing nothing, but honestly, their mind's racing. He's like, maybe I should go on YouTube. Maybe I should go, play a video game. Maybe I should go do this. You know what I mean? He never really gave himself a chance to just calm down, sit there with no distractions, and actually just genuinely just do nothing. Not even think. You know what I mean? Just sit there. There's power in that. You know?
I had completely changed my mindset within 5 minutes of doing absolutely nothing. And it wasn't just the work that I started to think about and that I started to find some motivation for, but I also started to think about a lot of other things.
And when I said that there's power in that, it's mainly because it allows everything to settle, for the dust to settle, for the inflammation to cease, and for everything go back to home base. Everything's in home base, then you'll know where the first step will be. You know what I mean? It'll just be. Everything will be clear. It's what clears the way. It's what clears the path. If you picture being in like an ocean or a body of water, right? Just picture that being in your head. Honestly, I don't think there should be any dry spaces in your head. This is very accurate. So being in water, and then all of a sudden, like I'm sure some of you been to the beach. It may be clear, but as soon as you start walking and kicking up that sand, things are just all, sand makes things all dirt, mucky in the water and murky, right? But when you stop, it gives it the water a chance to just settle, and all the sand settles, and then it's back to clear waters again, right? And it's understandable why he sat there, and as he was sitting there, it just came up like this. Like after 5 minutes, he's just like, you know what? That one thing that I was putting off, yeah, I'm ready to do it. Yeah, that's what I need to do. That just feels right now because everything's at home now. Everything's settled.
Things in my life that I always wanted. I started to think things like, why have I been eating so unhealthy the last couple of days? Why have I been overeating? I really want to get a better body. I should be getting more serious about going to the gym. I should be talking to more girls. I should be working towards my other goals. I started to feel some sort of a restlessness, some sort of a hype on life that I hadn't felt before in a very, very long time. And I started to sort of realize from this point on. Now, I'm not saying that it all came to me in that one very moment, that I had an epiphany and poof, then it suddenly came to me. Obviously, I had a bunch more moments like this. And it's over time that I started to think about it. But I think it was like from this point that I started to think about it and that I slowly started to realize that most of the time that I was, let's call it, wasting away my life and struggling to find the motivation and the passion to actually do the things that I wanted to do somewhere deep down. It wasn't necessarily the fact that the things that I had to do were so hard, or that they were so uncomfortable, or that I didn't know where to start or whatever. But it was probably due to the fact that I was always, as a default, distracting myself, doing things that were very
Always moving.
fun, doing things that were very stimulating, that give you a lot of
Or
dopamine.
so inflammatory.
And so I had probably raised my dopamine levels, my dopamine baseline, if you want to call it that, all the way up here. I was doing the things that give me the most stimulation, right? The things that give me the most dopamine. And so now the things that I had to do and the things that I wanted to do somewhere deep down were no longer attractive to me because these things don't give you as much dopamine. They give you some dopamine, but they don't give you as much dopamine as the things that I was doing, the video games, the YouTube videos, the porn, all the things that I was doing all the time. And because I was up here all the time, the things that I really had to do, the things that I really wanted to do, no longer were things that I wanted to do because I didn't want to go down here. My dopamine wanted to stay up here because we are designed to always want to get the most dopamine that we can get, right? And if we're already up here, we don't want to go back down here. And as soon as I started to do nothing for just a couple of minutes, I moved down my dopamine levels again. And now compared to the dopamine levels that I was having down here, the things that were up here suddenly started to become a little bit attractive. I actually started to think, hey, wait a second, I kind of feel like doing these things. Because I allowed myself to feel like doing these things because I was down here and not up here anymore.
Hallelujah. And you see how he described that, right? It clearly shows he needed things to settle. In that example with the water and you know, always moving and getting things going all over the place, getting murky is definitely accurate.
And this is probably also the reason why if you go on like a vacation and you just spend a couple of days or a couple of weeks in nature with no technology at all, you usually start to feel a certain hype that you normally don't feel, right? You get creative ideas. You start to think, oh, I should really start to do this. I start to do that. I should really learn to break my comfort bubble and overcome my fears. I should really start to work towards my goals. You start to feel this passion that you normally don't feel. But then whenever you come back home again, within a couple of days usually, poof, the passion's gone again, right? And then you ask yourself, why is it that I felt that motivation while I was on the vacation? But now that I come back home, the motivation's gone again. Well, it's probably because you...
Me, when I was younger, like after a Marvel movie, I, boy, I'll tell you what, I was ready to come home and be a superhero. I was like, yep, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And then always, yeah, just like how we said, it would always end up, you know, just kind of dwindling or getting covered by all the dopamine highs and all that stuff.
But as soon as you came back home, what happened? Your dopamine levels, woof, you put yourself back up here. And now you no longer wanted to do these things. You didn't want to come down. I even noticed this on a day-to-day basis. If I start my day by distracting myself, so I open up some YouTube videos, or I pick up my phone, or I even start up a video game, which is one of the dangers. If you work for yourself at home, you can start up a video game before you can get to work. I noticed that 99% of the time, I'm probably closer to 100% of the time, I had a tough day. A tough day. Now, some of these days, I might have actually brought up the discipline to do some work anyway, eventually, right? But even then, it was tough. It took me a lot of effort to start up the things that I had to do. While I was doing them, I felt the urge to constantly open up a browser like YouTube or something, or start up a video game, or pick up my phone and start distracting myself. And I was constantly thinking, I can't wait until I'm done with these work things. And then I can watch a YouTube video or start up a video game again, right? It was a tough day. And every time I did the opposite, so I started the day by not distracting myself, but I just woke up, I did my morning ritual, and I got straight to work. And then I forced myself to work for a couple of hours without any distraction at all. I ended up having a great day. At least those initial few hours were very productive. When I started to work, I actually thought, I kind of feel like doing this work task right now. I didn't feel as much temptation to distract myself as I normally feel. And a lot of the time, when I was done working, I actually felt motivated to do other things in my life, like going to the gym or something. There were days where I was done working and I would have expected, okay, now I'm done, so now I can finally play the video game, right? But there were days where I was done working and I didn't even really feel like playing the game anymore, but I actually felt motivated to do some other things in my life that were better for me, right? Things that were really aligned with the goals that I have in life. I started to think things like, I should really bring up the courage to talk to that girl. I should really become more serious about the things that I eat and going to the gym, etc. All these things that I normally didn't really think about, I mean, they were there. They existed in the back of my mind. I wanted them. They were my goals, right? But I wasn't really, how do you put it, connected to them. I wasn't really thinking about them passionately on a day-to-day basis. Do you know what I mean? These things started to come back to me. Now these things were things that I started to think about really passionately, and I actually started to feel an urge to put them into practice and actually start working on them. And so I started to realize that most of the time that people waste away their lives and struggle to build the life of their dreams that is somewhere back there, down there in the back of their brain, it's not because of the fact that the things that they have to do are that hard or that they don't know what to do, but it's simply due to the fact that we have these lifestyles where we always, by default, distract ourselves and put ourselves in that high dopamine comfort bubble. It's that comfort bubble where we feel like we're having a lot of fun, where we feel good and we don't want to come down again. I mean, think about it.
And that goes in line with the live stream that I did yesterday. It's taking a minute. It's my first live stream, so for those of you who don't know, I figured this out yesterday. With your first live stream, YouTube takes a minute to process it. But anyways, when it comes up, I was talking about electrons or atoms, right? How you're the proton of your situation, you're the nucleus of it, right? In nature, opposites attract and like repels, right? Anything in your nature that is like unto you, you know what I mean? Anything that has the same energy that you're pushing out is not meant to be in the nucleus with you unless it is held together by the will of God, by God's purposeful hands, you know what I'm saying? Holding you guys together. So like if you look at that same aspect, anything that isn't in line with your purpose, what you want to get done. Say if you're trying to, I was about to say build a school, right? If you're trying to build a school, right, you are not going to be building a school and then you bring your laptop to code. You know what I mean? Like on off times. It just doesn't make sense because they see there's two separate ideas that are very, very positive, but they need to have their own times and their own atmospheres in order for you to operate in them healthily. Because other than that, the orbit of each situation would just clash. If you just picture two galaxies colliding, it wrecks a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? And that's the reason why. If you look at the stars and how they're the number of the sand, the sea. All that crashing together would just stir a whole bunch of stuff up. So yeah.
Default mode for so many people, right? When we are even considering if we should do something, so if we're even considering whether we should do our homework or a work task, it's not like we are sitting there doing nothing, contemplating if we should do our homework or not, right? But we are already starting up that video game. We are already watching the YouTube video, or we are
Yep.
already
Getting withdrawals, dopamine withdrawals.
playing the video game, and then while we are playing the video game, then we start thinking, oh yeah, maybe I should do my homework. We are already up here, right? It's the default mode for us. And so it makes absolute sense that so many people, including me in the past, struggle to move down here again. If we are always trapped up here in that high dopamine comfort bubble, then obviously we are not going to want to.
Then it would be a important thing to just be still at that moment, like he did. And it's all coming back, around to the beginning. If you ever feel like you're trapped in that circumstance where you're just trapped, everything is so crazy around you, you don't even know what to do. Just be still. Be still and know that I am God. God said that for a reason. You know what I mean? So just be still and then just let your mind settle. Let everything settle. Sit in a room without anything that's distracting you. empty room. If you even have an empty room, I would be the one to go to that empty room. I would be the one to just go to that closet or whatever, to go to my car or whatever the case and just sit there. Or go outside and get to, bring a chair like I am out here right now, without a computer, without your phone, and just chill there, and just think. I guarantee you, in as much time as this man said that he has gotten a revelation of what to do, or as much time that this man said it took for all the dust and everything to settle, it would take that same amount of time with you, especially if you prayed before and just let yourself be silent, completely silent. So, yeah.
Go down here. And maybe you've even experienced this to a certain extent yourself. Maybe you've had these days in your life where you had to do some homework, but you started up a game first and you had a tough day, like the example I just described before. You struggled to start up your homework. While you were doing your homework, you kept thinking, oh man, I can't wait until I'm done with my homework so I can play the video game again. And maybe, not everyone's this lucky, but maybe you've also had some days in your life where for whatever reason you started up the homework first, right? So you hadn't watched any YouTube videos yet, played no video games yet, but you just started up your homework first. And you just did your homework and you noticed that it was a lot easier to do your homework, right? It was a lot easier. And maybe you even felt some motivation to do some other things as well. You started to feel proud of yourself and you started to think, maybe I should do these things as well.
And you start seeing, because you have goals, right? That's the reason why you have these things in your life. You have goals and things that you need and want to accomplish. Of course, what you should want should be within what you need, right? And there's fun things within what you need. Don't get me wrong. God designed things to be sought that way, or yeah, to be seen that way, right? Or sought that way, of course. You'll see that the path is clear. You'll be like, oh my goodness, I can get, instead of getting this done in a year, I can get this done in a week, in a month. You know what I mean? And all I got to do is just make sure I focus, make sure that it's the first thing I open up this morning, and if I don't get done with a certain part, it'll be the last thing I close before I go to bed, right?
And when you were done with your homework and you started up that video game, you also had a lot more fun playing that video game, didn't you?
Mm.
It's because now your dopamine went like this. It went up, up. It only went up throughout the entire day, so you felt great. But normally, what you normally do is you start here and then you have to go down. So then you feel like shit. You're not having a lot of fun. You're not even having a lot of fun playing the video game because you feel kind of guilty and you can't really relax and immerse into the game. And all that happens is that you have to go down. But if you switch it around, if you start by doing the serious things first, you allow your dopamine system to go up, up, and you only feel better, and you allow yourself to actually start to feel some motivation to do the things that you've always wanted to do in life. So I am not saying that you can never do the fun things again, that you can never ever play a video game again, but I am saying that the problem that we're having is that we are doing these fun things by default. We're doing them too much, and we do them before we do the things that we should be doing, right? And that is sort of numbing our dopamine system, and that is killing our motivation. That is preventing us from connecting to the things that we truly want in life.
Sorry, guys. Let me just keep rolling.
And if you get into the habit of doing the work first and waking up in the morning and not distracting yourself, but doing the work first, allowing your dopamine system to go up, up throughout the day, your life is going to become so much better because of it. You get more motivation to work, you become more productive, it allows you to focus more on the work that you do, it allows you to feel passion towards the things that you've always wanted to do, and it even makes the fun things in your life more fun. I also started to notice that when I had evenings where I didn't distract myself, so normally I'd spend the whole evening just playing games and watching some porn, maybe some YouTube videos, right? But if I started to have evenings where I didn't do any form of overstimulation at all, so I just, I did something productive, or maybe I exercised, and then I go for like a long walk after something, right? Just go for a long walk, and then maybe make a plan of what I was going to do the next day, and then I'd go to sleep. I woke up the next day feeling like a completely different person. I felt an amount of motivation and passion to do the things that I always wanted to do that I hadn't felt before in literally years.
Because you feel like you've accomplished something, you feel like you've done everything right. You don't feel like you've done wrong, or that because you know that you've done something in you knows you've done something wrong. You know that, of course, we are all made by God. We have a spirit dwelling in us, so we know, okay, we were supposed to get that done. You know what I mean? We were supposed to do this. You know, even if were aware, whether you were aware or not, subconsciously, you know, you just feel like you did something wrong. But like when you wake up that morning after doing everything right that next day, it's like you're just clear. You know what I mean? And you're like, yeah, I'm doing the right thing. I'm on track.
Literally years. I was a completely different
Okay,
person.
I gotta stay
And
positive.
even in the moments itself, where you were already distracting yourself, like I told you in the beginning of this video, in the lowest lows of your life, where you have the most overstimulated brain that you've ever had, and you're already playing the video game and watching the porn and doing everything. Even then, if you just remove yourself from the overstimulation and you allow yourself to do absolutely nothing for a couple of minutes, you will start to feel a little bit of motivation to actually work towards your goals that you haven't felt before in a long time.